like when we reward kids with stuff they don't care about,
Doesn't
that
matter.
it's not going to do anything. Like
Yep.
you have to give them something that they care about, something that they're going to buy into, and then you'll see like progress come from that.
Welcome back to Teacher Tales, where we give you the keys to overcoming teacher burnout to find work-life balance and educational bliss if it still exists. On this episode of Teacher Tales, we learned that confidence is key, even if you're a new teacher. Gradual personal sharing helps build rapport without overwhelming your kids, and be authentic. Continually strive for self-improvement. The stuff that we're talking about is a part of creating that classroom culture that I think all teachers are striving for, even though, especially for us in secondary, all of our classes are different. Even though we're the same, the kids change every class period. And so the culture is different depending on who you have in your classroom. And so I actually have this year like power rankings on the board.
Like period by period?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's very small. It's just kind of for me. And then sometimes when I talk to kids and they like to ask, like, who's your favorite class?
They love to ask that.
They really care. I'll tell them. Like, oh, second period is my favorite. Right now, that's true. But so second period is kind of up and down. They're like screwing around. So they're not doing the work that I think they should be doing. So I bumped them down. I said, y'all are dropping in the power rankings. What? No way. Yeah, y'all are dropping. The work that I seen this week, not good enough. Moving y'all down to second.
No, like I didn't think that they actually cared, but multiple students, and they'll be like, no, seriously. And I'll just say my favorite class always used to be sixth period. Like every year, it's after lunch. The kids are kind of chill. Everybody's kind of like coming down.
Right.
It's always been a good class for me. And so then my sixth period, they're like, what class is always your favorite? And I was like, sixth. And they're like, so we're your favorite? I was like, no, absolutely not.
This year.
Not this year. You guys are on one sometimes.
Yeah.
And I have a couple of kids in here that get so chatty where it's like, we've already said what the expectations are set. And they know, like, I'll look at you and they're like, oh, you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I hear everything.
Yeah, I was like, y'all really think y'all whisper quieter than you do. Like, you are so loud when you're like, hey. Like, it's not a whisper anymore. But I have seen kids act so different from one class to another. Like,
oh, yeah.
Unrecognizable when they're in somebody else's class. And I know they would always say stuff like, oh, they tell us, like, build this culture, which we all try to do. But a lot of times the district will give you, like, unrealistic things to do. And they're like, that's going to help you build this classroom culture. No, it's not, because every teacher is different. The same way that we differentiate for the kids.
Right.
We have to differentiate our classroom. And I mean, look at everybody talks so much stuff about my classroom. They're like, what, it looks like you moved in. Like,
yeah,
it's comfortable.
Awesome. I like coming in here.
I feel like it's calming.
It is. Because you always have the lights like low enough for it not to be like super bright like most of the classes. High enough to still get work done. And then you got the couches. So it's a wrap then.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, the core's great. Yeah, I should just come hang out in here every class period. Bring my kids.
Right. There's space.
More than enough space.
More than enough space for the kids. But yeah, we are back. What week are we in now?
This is week 3.
Is it?
Because the first week is like a couple of days.
Yeah.
And then last week and now this week. So, you can't have a first week without having a first day. So, what does that first day look like for you? Do you have any specific things that you do first day that you feel like are your go-tos? You have to do them. They work well.
I feel like it changes what I do in the class. It might even change period to period. I mean, like, I told you I'm going to do this and this tomorrow. And then I woke up in the morning and was like, never mind, I did something completely different. But I just know, like, setting that standard right from the beginning. I do not give work those first days. Like, there's some teachers that they had like worksheet out that first day and they're like, we don't have time. We have to get going. And I'm like, you don't even know who's in your class yet.
Right.
So
That schedule's changing too.
the schedule's changed so much. And so it's like, okay, let's just kind of get to know each other. So like I said, I've told you that I like to do like a deserted island or whatever you want to call it. Or it's like if you could only take one book, one movie, one podcast, and one artist's music. And just that, because it kind of gives you like a range of different things that they like.
Yeah.
And then so it's like, okay, I can kind of see something from you based on your 4 choices of what you would take with you. And that kind of gives you like an idea.
What are your answers?
One podcast would be My Favorite Murder.
No, it's got to be the Teacher Tales podcast.
The Teacher Tales podcast. Okay. Teacher Tales, obviously.
There we go.
If I had to do one show, it would be The Office.
Fair.
It's just
yeah.
You just can keep watching it. One book. Crap. That would be hard to choose one book.
I got mine. You can probably guess it.
Wait, what book?
It's a book filled with great stories.
A book filled with great stories?
Mm-hmm.
The Bible?
There you go.
Yes, I got it. It would definitely be like a historical book.
Mm-hmm.
I really like reading about like Vietnam and Nixon and stuff, so something that has to do with that. And those books are always so thick, so that would keep me entertained for a while. And then I don't know about an artist. What would be your show? Your book.
My show is probably going to be The Office as well. That's one of the few shows, probably the only show that I just continue to watch all the time. That and Seinfeld.
I never got through all of Seinfeld, but it's hilarious.
I love Seinfeld.
Like, the show is hilarious. I just know I've seen the last episodes. I've seen the beginning. I've just missed some in the middle.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a lot of shows that once I finish a show, I never go back and watch it.
It's dead to you?
It's over.
It's over.
The Office is like, those are the only 2. So it will probably be The Office. I love The Office. It's so great. I'm going to go watch it.
I was just thinking that. Like one day whenever I was in college, when I was going to school to be a teacher, the teacher did an entire lesson based off of a scene from The Office where Dwight Schrute gives them like the Schrute bucks and they're basically valueless, right? Like they don't care about them.
Yeah.
And so the entire lesson was just about like when we reward kids with stuff they don't care about, that it's not going to do anything. Like you have to give them something that they care about, something that they're going to buy into. And then you'll see like progress come from that. And they're like, you can offer them these weird rewards that some teachers offer all day. It's not going to get anything. We had an entire class lesson just based off of that scene.
That sounds like a good teacher.
It was a really good teacher. I really liked him.
Artist. That's definitely the hardest one. What was the other one? I had to pick a podcast.
Yes.
The Low Post. Easy. Basketball podcast.
Okay.
He's the best. Everybody respects the Low Post because he's like the balance between like funny and fun and really nerdy, analytical basketball stuff.
Yeah.
So he strikes a great balance. Love the Low Post. The Office, the Bible, and an artist. It'll have to be what's those people's names? Earth, Wind, and Fire. Or it'll have to be like something gospel. Oh, Maverick City Music.
That's gospel?
Yeah. They make a ton of stuff though, like with everybody. So if I had their catalog, I'd be able to listen to other artists too.
Nice. Okay, I see your little workaround there.
So if it was something like non-Christian music, it would probably be Earth, Wind, and Fire. Because their music is just like soulful, makes you feel good. They talk about love. They have fun. So you get a good mix of things.
But see, like, just like that, okay, so now I know that you like if I didn't know you, you like The Office, okay, you like, comedy,
I'm
that type
funny.
of, you think that, you, you think that type of humor is funny, okay, you're the Bible, so you're Christian, you have faith, like those type of things. And so then
Right.
it kind of gives you different aspects of their
Yeah.
personality that they can put together. So I like that one.
I think I'm gonna do that. Sports. I think I just pretty much told my whole life in these 4
Yeah,
things.
and then sports, I like basketball, I like, whatever. And then now you have an idea of who you are.
That's pretty much it. Sports, The Office, and the Bible.
Okay, one food that you could eat for the rest of your life.
Cheesy gordita crunch. No, inside joke. Dang, this would be like the worst food for me. I'd probably blow up like a balloon. But I love pizza.
Pizza's so good.
You know
We've
this.
talked
You know this. I love pizza.
Pizza's so good.
So eventually that would work against me and I would die younger than I should. But I love pizza the most.
Okay. I would say tacos.
Fair.
Like beef fajita tacos.
So beef fajita tacos are solid.
They're so good.
Always a good choice.
Yeah.
Almost like pizza.
With jalapenos. Pizza
Okay.
with jalapenos. We've talked about that. Okay.
I did not share my day one experience.
Yeah. There you go.
It's usually just going through a stinking PowerPoint, talking about my class, communication, leadership. I feel like day one, well, I'm clearly wrong because you just said day one for you changes all the time. But I've felt like day one is the same for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Expectations, maybe what is the class like, maybe some stinking thing from the district that I'm not doing. Day two, I think, is where we all get to start to do what we want to do. Some people are already doing work, which I am, but it's more like all about me kind of stuff, like getting to know kids. But that is the first introduction to how our speeches work, how you have to prepare, you have to put some visual together. So I'm still teaching in that second day, but it's very light.
Mm-hmm.
But what are some other ways to get to know your students? Like, what are some of your favorite questions to ask them when you're circulating the room?
So what I do, I don't even know if I would say even specific things on that day, but I'll kind of jot notes down for the stuff that they say if something kind of reaches out to me.
Okay.
And then how my tables are in kind of little groups. The second day I was like, okay, I'm going to give y'all 15 minutes to just get to know the people around you. And then I would walk and sit with the group and just talk to them and be like, hey, so you said you like Grey's Anatomy, do you like a lot of Shonda Rhimes shows, or hey, do the rest of y'all like Grey's Anatomy? And then just kind of talk. And so then
Start
I kind of
and then leave. All right,
or
got him going.
With the table that was over here, they were all watching the Vampire Diaries, which if anybody's watched that show, there's a very specific love triangle type thing. And I'm like, wait, are you Stefan or Damon? And then they started they started going back and forth about who's right and wrong, and then move on. And so it makes them just kind of talk about different things, but I have time to go and talk to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And usually by the next week, everybody is feeling comfortable and they're feeling like themselves, and they're like, okay, I can kind of relax and not be the first days, the kids are like, yes, yes, yeah, heads down and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's talk to me. I'm a normal person. You can talk to me about things. And so it's just important to me that they feel comfortable with me, because people don't, I know it's cliche, but people don't learn from people they don't like. They will shut you out, shut you out hard.
Yes.
You could be you could know all your stuff, but
it's not enough.
It's not.
How many days would you say it takes for kids to get comfortable? To really start to, almost to the point where they're just doing too much. We're like, all right, you guys are pretty comfortable now. All right, just let's reel it in a little bit. How many days would you, if you had to put a day amount on it?
5.
Dang, 5 days. Do you teach so do you have all the same grade level in your classes?
It's all 11th grade.
Okay. Oh, and you have juniors? That's the best. Juniors are the best.
Juniors are the best. I feel, and I tell them this all the time. I think that your junior year is the hardest
Mm-hmm.
year because your freshman year, those classes are kind of easy. They're
Yep.
give me classes. Your sophomore year, you're getting into stuff, but your junior year, you're taking the bulk of your
Yeah.
stuff. And then once you get to your senior year, some of them only need 2 classes,
Yeah.
3 classes to graduate. So I'm like, this year it's going to be hard on you.
The hardest year, but the best year.
Yeah, but like I see the toll that it takes on them as the school year goes on, like especially math and science, which it is what it is. Those classes are hard. Like
Yes.
they're very hard, but I can see the toll that it takes on them. So that was like a whole different point. I was gonna say like I try and do a temperature check with them as the year goes on to just be like, when I see that they look like they're about to pull their hair out, like, okay, let's have a light day today.
Right.
Let's kind of reel it back because we have the time. But with math and science, it's go, 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 go.
Yes.
We have the time where we can stretch some things. And so I try to do that with them. But I think it comes quickly because I spend so much time talking to them. And I think they're like, oh, okay. And then they see that I coach and that I do this and I do that. So they just start getting very comfortable. And then I'm
we're
like,
good here.
yeah. And I'm like, I love you guys, but just pull it back. Like,
Y'all
it's
getting on
that
my
time.
nerves.
Yeah. And then like I have to do the mean voice. And then they're like, I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah. When that comes out, it's a huge problem, guys. And they're like,
Right.
okay. And then they don't want
I
that.
don't want to go back to that.
Yeah.
I think that is harder for my classes because I do have all different grade levels. So you got some like stinking freshmen in there who are just little idiots. Sometimes.
Freshmen are the worst.
It's almost like either they're the worst or they're the best. Because you do have like those freshmen where you like, you fit right in with the juniors and the seniors.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly you're a little bit more mature and you figured some things out. And then you have seniors in there who are just over it. They're like, how am I in this elective with these chumps? So
Shouldn't they have taken it already though?
it just kind of depends on how your schedule falls.
That's true. Especially if you're in athletics and stuff.
Right.
And it like fills up periods and
So
then
that stuff, some of the stuff like my class gets pushed, to the end where you have more free periods. So I would say for my class, maybe 7 days. And I'm just calculating that in terms of this is the 3rd week and it was Monday. I felt like this Monday, all of my classes were pretty comfortable. And part of that is because they're working in groups already. So that happens quickly for that reason. Because y'all are going to be working together all year. So it's important that you feel comfortable and talk to each other. And not just your buddies. So my next project, I'm picking the groups.
Okay.
So I'm going to mix it up. It's all a part of the strategy. When did you start like making your classroom dark? Like a bat cave?
When did I start making it
When did you make
dark?
that decision? Because not everybody does it, but I've clearly been in your room over the years. And
It was after my first year, I had the lights on.
mm-hmm.
And Tammy,
Mm-hmm.
her room was like this. And I would tell her like I felt like I was getting migraines from like the fluorescent lighting.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, I don't know. And she was like, well, get lamps and like turn your lights off.
Her room's to be dark.
Her room was dark. And that was kind of the thing. I was like,
take
oh,
a
I don't
nap.
want it to be like pitch black. And I mean, she ended up getting more lamps and stuff, but I like did it and I realized that like I felt calmer. I didn't feel like my head was hurting. The kids seemed calmer, like they came in and it was like a more relaxed vibe. And so I was like, okay, like
This is it.
It changes them too. And then I was like, yeah, this is it. And this is like the hill that I'll die on. And you already know that.
I do.
The lamp, the low
the lamp
light.
hill. The low lamp hill.
Yes, that's the hill I'll die on. Because it is my vibe and it's my classroom. The kids can see there's enough light. And like, this is where,
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
This classroom is definitely brighter than the other one.
Because those lights never turn off.
Yep. I think it helps.
It does. And then I say this all the time though, like there's teachers who turn their lights all the way off to like watch movies and stuff. My lights will never be all the way off.
No.
Like even when I didn't have those two, my lights never turned all the way off. I need to be able to see everyone.
Wow.
Yeah, like you could be the best kids, but like no.
Listen, when you got boys and girls in the same
Exactly.
classroom, things change.
Yes.
What are some of like your go-to classroom rules or routines?
Unlike a lot of teachers, I don't have the like a warm up. I'm not like necessarily like a warm up person. What I need you to do when you get in class is have your now that they all have laptops. I need your laptop to be open. If you need to plug it in, plug it in. If it's dead, whatever, get all your materials out. I don't need you to come in and fill out this little quiz real quick or whatever. That's just not fine. So whenever I get to the front of the room, you should already be ready. We're not unpacking things and while I'm talking. You're like, right. So by the time I'm up there, you should be ready. A thing that I do with my kids, and I think that this is actually carried with me from high school. We had a speech teacher, a professional communications teacher, that she had done like a study, or when she was getting her doctorate, she had done something. She was working on her doctorate. She had been doing research about how long people can pay attention, like and how long at each age people can pay attention. And she said that she found that kids about this age, that like 32 minutes is like the max that they can sit and listen to somebody talk. And she was like, I've read all this research. I've done that. Like she gave us the spiel, right? And so she always said, my lessons will never go over that. If it does, you can say stop and whatever. Then we would move on to like making sure we're doing work. So she had stuff for us to do, but she was like, I'm never just going to talk at you for over 32 minutes. And so I was like, okay, well, the class is, 50 minutes long, and we're supposed to be teaching from bell to bell, however you want to say it. No, I know. From bell to bell. So the first 5 minutes of class.
Your favorite AP used to say bell to bell all the time.
I know. The first 5 minutes of class is get all your stuff out, get ready. I will start my lesson. My lessons will never go over 30 minutes. And then whenever I keep it at 30 because I like that number. When I stop, then y'all do your work.
Right.
Now, I'm not up there talking every single day. They have group assignments and stuff like that. But I've told them, like, because I know it's hard enough for y'all to sit there. It's hard for me to sit somewhere and stare at somebody for 30 minutes. But there's some stuff, because it is U.S. history, that we do have to, like, get some of this material out sometimes. That I'm like, I need you to know this. This is going to be on your exam. It's an end of course exam and all of that stuff. So they know, and then I'm say like, while y'all are doing your work, as long as you're getting your work done, y'all can talk. The volume needs to stay low. Right. So they know that if they can just stay quiet for that short period of time, then they'll have the rest of class to talk to their friends. And so that helps, like, they know, here's the goal. Right. Let's get to that.
Pretty soon I'll be able to yap.
Yeah, and then when somebody's talking, they'll be like, hey, stop talking. I'm like whispering to them because they're like, we're trying to get through this.
Yes.
Like, thank you for monitoring the class. Yeah, like, please let her finish. So
my class is, I don't teach something that's hard.
I
don't teach anything that's hard. So the thing that I need them to do most is talk, is be more communicative. Is that the word? Is that the word? Because it's all built on teamwork and leadership and communication. I would say those are definitely the pillars of, especially the first 9 weeks. So it takes them a while, but I'm like, no, I need you to talk more in this class. Even when y'all are working, you need to talk more because you can't work together if you're not communicating with the people that are in your group. It just doesn't work that way. And so usually, like, I'm up there very little. I would say if there's a week, then I'm up there maybe a little bit on Monday, 15 minutes. 15 minutes on Tuesday, 15 minutes on Wednesday, introducing like whatever the next project is. The next day, Thursday, maybe 5, just reiterating some stuff. Hey, this is what I saw yesterday. Make sure you're doing this, this, and this. Don't do this, this, and that. Same thing on Friday, 5 minutes. So a lot of it is like what you just said, facilitating. Okay, here's the work. Now do the work.
Mhm.
And I give them enough work to keep them busy. And it's not busy work. I make the projects big enough to where they take more time than they have.
Yeah,
I never give them more time than they need because they'll waste it.
absolutely.
So they should feel in class like, I'm not going to finish this. Because that means they need to kick it into gear when it's time to work in class. Or you just going to have homework. And I have no sympathy for people who wait and
Yeah,
just do their stuff at home. I'm like, we should have did it in class. I don't care.
yeah.
It's not turning.
Are the kids allowed to? This is a random question. Are the kids allowed to like kick somebody out of their group?
No.
Okay.
Because when we work with somebody who sucks, we can't fire them.
Yeah.
You just got to figure it out. So,
Like the only reason I asked this is last year for a major project, it was 30% of their semester grade for dual credit. One of the groups, and I told them, I was like, I'm gonna let you pick your groups, but you have to understand this is 30% of your grade. So if you
right.
pick people that because that's your best friend, but you know that your best friend doesn't
It's a
do
bum.
anything, I'm not gonna feel any sympathy for you,
None.
and that's what it is. And then like this group came to me and they were like, please, can we please kick this kid out? Can we please kick him out? And at first I was gonna tell them no, but then like I was watching and they were like on the kid and they were like, we need you to do this. Like we have done everything. And he was like, well, y'all got it. And then I was like, oh,
All right,
no, you know what?
We're not standing for this.
Yeah, I was like, absolutely not. And I was like, you're gonna have to do an entire project on your own
Yep.
because they've done everything. They had been submitting to me like the checks and they're asking you to do one thing and you're like bold-faced telling them no and you're expecting to get that as 30% of your grade. Like,
Yeah.
you're crazy.
That's the exception. Because as a teacher, you have to understand what's happening in your classroom. You got to know your kids. And you know when somebody is a bum. You know it. You're like, you gonna be that person. Here we go. And you always make the speech, or I always make the speech at the beginning of the class. Like, don't be that person. Y'all know the person I'm talking about. You don't become that person. But inevitably, especially when you're doing tons of group stuff like I do, there's gonna be people.
Yeah.
And so I tell the kids, I said, everybody has to be in a group. I can't exclude people. So whether somebody is a super high level student or a super low level student, everybody has to work with somebody. So just get used to it, get over it, and it is what it is. And so that's part of the reason why sometimes I pick groups and then sometimes I let them pick groups. Here's the balance here is I have a lot of projects where I'll pick captains and then those people will get to pick their groups.
Do they do it like one at a time?
It's like a draft.
I was gonna say, do they draft
It's
it?
awesome. And they come up and they look at who's available. And they're like, all right, I got that person.
I would be so embarrassed to be the last person picked. But then you don't want to be last person picked. So
but here you go. But the other kids don't see. Only the captains see the list.
Oh, okay.
So I'll call all of the captains up and they'll be around my desk and they see like who's getting picked. They're like, dang, I was gonna pick that person. And so they're the only people who know like who was last. And of course the captains are the people who are the most responsible, the most mature people. Not necessarily the people with the best grades, because you have some people who have excellent grades but are not good with people.
Yeah.
So I have to just know the kids and balance it out. And then I think that's when I feel like that's when I see the most from my groups, because I have like a designated person that's a leader that I know for sure is a leader. And then sometimes you have a class where you don't have enough leaders. You're like, I don't trust none of y'all. I trust 5, but I need 8 leaders. So some people I'm gonna have to roll the dice on.
Just do the spinny wheel thing and just hope for the best.
Heck no. How much do you tell them about you?
Oh my God. Okay. This is so funny because my cheerleaders, the first day that we came to practice, they were like, okay, some of your coworkers, they said it like that, they're like, are oversharers. Like, I don't need to know where did they say where you and your husband met, where he proposed, where you had your bridal shower, where you got married, where like, and I was like, wait, who said, like, I'm not obviously gonna say any
Who's saying
names,
all that stuff?
but I was like, what? And like a bunch of them were like, oh my God, yeah, my teacher told me that they did this and they had this and they like so many things where I was like, man, am I not sharing enough? Like, because most of the stuff that I tell them is about work. Like, I'm the cheerleading coach. This is where I went to college. This is where I got both of my degrees from. This, I've been in education this long. And then I say, like, I do say I'm married and I have 2 young children. That's pretty much like the extent of like personal information that they get. And then like as time goes on and they get to know me, like sometimes they'll be like, oh, what was your first job? And I'm like, oh, this was my first job. My first job was at Chuck E. Cheese. And yes, I've been in the mouse costume many times.
Really?
Yes.
I don't think I knew this.
It's so ridiculous.
It sounds fun.
It was hot, but it was a lot of fun. Like that job was really fun. But like stuff like that, like as the year goes on and they're talking to me, then they'll get to know me more. But at the beginning, I'm not just sharing my life with them like that.
Same. It happens over time because people love to ask, like, how did you meet your wife? I get that question often. How old is your son? I talk about that in my introduction, where I went to school. I do talk about, I love sports, music, and movies, podcasts. So, yeah, I think there's just like basic stuff that I share about me. And then if you're a popular teacher, then people just kind of know stuff about you already. So they just like start asking questions.
Yeah.
So I like to ask, like, what have y'all heard about this class?
Oh, okay.
That's one of my favorite questions to ask because I teach this selective, a lot of people have taken it. And then there's...
Because you basically at half the population.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
So I like to know what they've heard. Because it's always interesting, like what's true and what's not. And then things change. So that's always fun. If there was one suggestion that you would make to somebody starting off their school year, what would it be?
Like a brand new teacher or somebody who just...
Brand new and experienced teacher.
Brand new is don't show any fear. I feel like these kids that, like, they say like they can smell fear. Like when you see...
They say that about dogs.
They do say that about dogs. They also say that about children. I have always heard my sister, her first year teaching, there was another lady who was her first year teaching. They both started at the same time. That lady quit on her first day because the kids were so, like, they could tell that she just was like afraid. She wasn't confident in herself. And they ripped her apart, to be quite honest. And I think that like everybody's gonna have a different style, especially new teachers. You're gonna come in and you're gonna think like, I need to do everything the way that I was taught to do it. Like, understand that you can be flexible, but be firm and don't be scared.
Don't be scared of these kids.
Because they will, like, they'll walk all over you if they know that they can.
Yeah, they will.
Yes, they'll walk all over you. For everybody else, for
experienced
teachers like us, I would say, like, to the best that you can, try and ease back into certain things. I'm having a hard time right now because my kids, like my daughter started middle school and she's on the dance team. So she has a lot of events that she's doing.
Right.
And so like I'm trying to do cheer stuff and then I'm leaving here rushing to her events and then my son's playing football and going to that. So I started kind of getting like overwhelmed and I'm not used to being overwhelmed even though I do a lot of stuff. But it's because I'm like supposed to be in 3 different places at the same time. So like, I guess easing into it isn't really the best thing. Don't forget to make time for your family.
There you go.
Like, you have 2 different lives. One is here and one is at home, and you can't get so wrapped up in here
Right.
That it's like literally as soon as school starts, it feels like I'm disappear from the house. But like I need to be with my kids and I need to be at all their events and stuff. So
There we go. Experienced teacher, don't disappear from home. Reappear every day. And new teacher, don't be scared. Don't be scared of these kids. You are the expert, whether you think so or not. You are the adult. I always just lean towards like be yourself. And
they can tell when you're not being authentic. Like,
yeah, like you can only keep up a facade for so long.
yeah.
Eventually, yourself is going to come out. So be who you are, but that who you are should always be getting better.
There you go.
Ta-da!
Yeah.
That is our episode for today. I love doing episodes with Coach Dominique because that's one of my good friends. And we always have great conversations. And y'all should hear the stuff that we do beforehand. That stuff is ridiculous. But before we get out of here, remember, build confidence and avoid the pitfalls of classroom management. It's all about understanding who you are and then bringing that to the classroom, because you have to effectively lead kids in order to inspire them to be better. And that comes from your authenticity, building your confidence, and then along the way, hopefully, you gain some practical tips to streamline your teaching approach and then maintain a healthy work-life balance, which is what we're trying to do here. Because you enjoyed that episode so much, go join the Teacher Triumphs Facebook group. Me and Jen created it as a way to help you overcome burnout and balance life by building community with other wonderful educators. Thank you for listening. Keep teaching, keep learning, and I will see you all on the next journey.